Good morning, fans. It's 8 o'clock in the AM in the morning here in the UK. This is most unlike me. This is middle of the night for me. I just can't sleep, got nothing to do. I thought I'd do a video. And to put makeup on at 7:30 in the morning for me is like going on a flight. I feel as though I'm going somewhere, but I'm not. I'm sitting here doing this because I've got a lot of psychic energy. It was given to me, well, it's to all of us, but it's given to me 2 or 3 days ago. I'm going to tell you about it because we've had a dimensional shift. So initially, where do you start with these things? There's such a lot to say in a short space of time, really. But I was going through a lot of pain in my legs. I get pain in my legs. No one knows what it is, and it really, I think it's arthritis, and it was unbearable. And I did everything I could. I found a website called Sapien Medicine, and they have it's a bit like the acute in its sound, and I find they're really healing. And I got rid of the pain, and I was calmed down, and I went to bed. I thought, oh, I've cured it, it's okay, I can sleep, and I did. But I woke up early in the morning. It was like a psychic attack. I can't describe it any other way. Do you remember that video I did on the spirit of illness? Well, it was like all of the energy I got rid of came running back to me, knocked me for six. My legs, I can't describe it. I was in such pain. I thought, what's going on? Because I got rid of it once. Where did it all come from? So I was in despair. So eventually I got up and I called for help. And within 2 minutes, this master came to my aid. Now I want to tell you about him because he's ever so sweet. He runs something, I think it's in the US, called Eckankar. I'll put the details in later on. And I think he's taken me under his wing. Masters do from time to time. You get new ones that come and go and teach you things, you know. I met him actually 20 years ago, which I'll tell you about because it's very interesting. I was living in a different place, and I went to a place called Leicester, which was quite a drive, about a 50-mile drive from where I was living, to go and see this particular event. It wasn't with him, it was talking about him and all sorts of lectures and stuff about Eckankar. It was actually held in Leicester. I don't know how I found it. I'm not much good at finding places, but I did. I had a wonderful day and had a nice evening, went for a meal with a lovely girl that I met there, and that's all I thought. And I came home, it was driving home late at night, and I got fined for speeding actually. Yeah. I had a lovely sports car then. But anyway, I was driving home and I suddenly burst into tears. I had to stop the car. I thought, what is going on? And of course it was the spiritual master that ran this place. He's a master, it was the next master, and he actually was coming to me. He'd obviously found me and, you know, was going to decide to take me under his wing for a bit. But that was 20 years ago, and I haven't really thought about him a lot since then. So it was quite a surprise when he appeared. Well, he did appear actually a few weeks ago as well, so he's been getting closer to me, I guess, which is nice. He's lovely, really sweet. He's on this plane as well, which is nice. I think a master that can be here as well, like Maharaji, is quite handy for them because they seem to understand the human condition a lot more. So anyway, he was the one that came to my aid when I had this pain in my legs, and I didn't know what was going on. It's part of a process, obviously, of some sort. So I had a little meditation with him, and then, oh gosh, was it the following day? Yeah, I think it was 2 days ago. You must have felt it. I was in the kitchen. It was 7 o'clock at night, getting my tea, and I suddenly felt most peculiar. I thought I was dying. You know, I'm always saying that, but I felt. It wasn't exactly dizzy. It was like I've never been drunk, or I've been tipsy from time to time, but I know it felt to me like I was just moving, or things were moving around me, and I thought, oh, what's happening? It wasn't enough to faint or to fall over. I thought, well, perhaps I'd better go to bed, which I did for half an hour or so, and then it lasted about an hour actually, and I was really quite frightened. I said, what's going on? They don't tell me. They never tell you anything. I think you're supposed to work it out for yourself, or look, you get answers through something. So anyway, I was quite worried when I went to bed. I decided to leave the door unlocked in case something happened to me, which was silly really, because if I died, I wouldn't know, would I? But it was that sort of feeling. I felt very unsteady and sort of lightheaded and faint, but it wasn't even faint. It was something I can't. It was like something around me and it was moving. So it took me, well, about a day to work out what it was. And I went out shopping yesterday and I thought, because I can't describe it. You will know. You feel different. There's a difference. I mean, I'm getting very intolerant, really very intolerant of people and things and places. Even getting intolerant with the internet. To be honest, I'm getting very intolerant. I've got to watch that because you know we're all at different stages, aren't we? And so I did feel a bit weird when I went out and I come back and I thought I know what it was. It was. I began to think I'd done something wrong. Isn't that silly? I do think that quite a bit because when things go awry, I think, oh dear, I've been grumbling too much. I have been grumbling a lot lately. So I did think I'd done something wrong. So I was sitting quietly last night watching my telly, and this kind of little signal came, and I think it was somebody saying, what's up, Doc? And I just suddenly feel as though I've done something wrong, and of course I haven't. And then the thought came to me, it was a dimensional shift, and I think it was fifth dimension. I was already in it. I think I mentioned it on the subplane. So this is another lift. I think there has been a lot of talk on the internet. Of course, you never know quite when it's going to happen, which is another story actually I've got to tell you. Not quite sure for the same video. I could do. I'll try. So it was a dimensional shift. So I've gone up a notch, if you know what I mean. And it hasn't come without a price because, of course, I think Maraji says when you put a pebble into a still pond, the mud stirs up at the bottom, and a lot of stuff has come up for me to deal with, because then when you raise your energy, you've got to face the other stuff as well. So I've been very, very depressed. In fact, I was in bed nearly all day yesterday, crying, and and even though you know what it is, you've got to go through it. You can't. I don't really get how to get rid of it. I have to go through it, and it does eventually clear, of course. But you're travelling through this very murky area for a few hours really. So anyway, I've come through it. Not quite sure what to do with the other video. It's two separate subjects, but maybe I don't know. This is 7 minutes. Some of you might complain it's not long enough. So anyway, there's a spiritual master. His name is Wazi, W-A-H. Said he's written a fantastic one. One of his pupils has written a fantastic book in tune with the masters. I think I'll let you know. I'll write it down, and it's all little stories about the different masters that his pupil met, and it's a lovely, lovely book. I love it. So that's the end of that little story. I'll fit this one in quickly because somebody's asked me to do it. Not if we don't get to the end of the videos anyway, so I might do a separate one on this. But she did say to me that I have said in the past about people leaving. Well, I think it's kind of to do with this fifth dimensional, come to think of it, because I've got several biblical references. I'm not a big Bible person, as you know. I'm not religious, but the little girl did ask me, where did you get it from? How what does it mean? And it does mean that in the New Age, and this in the Bible, Jesus is talking about this, that the New Age, that people will separate, families will separate, people will leave each other. And I think my particular one is a daughter will leave mother. And only a few months ago, I did something I thought I was doing. I didn't do it to upset her, but I sent her something which I think she objected to, and it's called The Thought Came to Me, and Daughter Will Leave Mother. And in this, I could read it out, but it's a bit lengthy. I think it's in Luke. I've got it written down here somewhere. Oh dear, my bits of paper. Luke chapter 12, verse 49 is the causes of division, when it talks about daughters leaving mothers, mothers leaving daughters, sons leaving fathers, and so forth. And there's one, Matthew 10:34, and it's all about I think he's referring to the new age, the new dimensions. Well, people will split up because they'll be going their own separate ways. They're not kind of in tune, they're not doing the same thing at the same time, and they will have to be leaving each other. Not necessarily a negative way, but moving on to do their own thing really. And I think with families it's particularly difficult because you love them, you don't want to lose them, but it's a case of having to. And I think there's also a piece said about people in the field. One will be taken and one will be left. And I think it is to do with this new energy that's coming in and will shift some people forward and not others. So that's the basis of the understanding. If I've got any more to say on that, I will do another video, but it comes from the Bible and things that Jesus has said about families splitting up and daughters leaving mothers, and of course mine has left me. I won't go into it now, but it is feel like a final leaving, that she is no longer there, no longer my daughter. It's a bit like a death really, and in fact it's worse than a death because the person is still around. So I think that is kind of relevant to what I've just been saying about the fifth dimension, because everyone's shifting about, and of course this co-virus thing, which is causing a lot of stress for a lot of people, indecisions. And I haven't had the jab actually. I won't have it. I don't know what's going to happen. I hope it's not going to become compulsory in the UK, but it does mean I perhaps won't be able to travel. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's covered it all. I will write down the name of this centre that Master Wazi, Sri Harold Klemp he's called, and it's a lovely, lovely centre. I haven't actually been, but it's a very lovely written book, lots of books and things, one of these mystical places. Anyway, okay, I'm going back to bed. If I sounded half asleep, do forgive me, but I just had to do this again because all the energy. I thought, why aren't I sleeping? I thought this psychic energy's got to go out. So I'm going to go now then, darlings, and take care of yourselves. God bless. Love you lots. Bye.